Welcome everybody to the webinar series, Have Greater Client Impact Today, hosted by the Ridge Project. Today's agenda is we got a recap of the previous two workshops, and then we're going to go into TYRO JET, and then talk about the TYRO Suite and next steps, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. The purpose of today's webinar is to introduce you to TYRO Job Ethics Training, and for you to become familiar with the TYRO Suite and how to become a partner. So the presenters of today are Ron and Catherine Tiarina, who are co-founders and co-executive directors of the Ridge Project. Dr. Brenda Oyer, who is the research and data manager for the Ridge Project. Dr. Jeff Frey, who is vice president and founding partner of GLUE. And Dylan Wilson, who is the initiative manager and creative direction at GLUE. So thank you so much for being with us today, Ron and Kathy.
Thank you so much for having us, Brandon. It is an honor to be here, and we're blessed to do this.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. So as we just kind of recap the previous webinars that we did, and if you've missed those are available on our website, please check those out for more information.
So we're going to talk real briefly about the TYRO Suite and what it teaches. And the first thing is you can see that it teaches character development, which we're really excited about, to deal with the inner workings of a man and what does it take to be a grown man versus being a grown man with little boy issues. Then it's going to be talking about living for others instead of living for self. Number one reason why anybody would find themselves in prison is selfishness. And also breaking the entitlement mentality, and that's a tough one because anyone who finds himself incarcerated or in that type of predicament, you know, it's all about them and they believe that somebody owes them something.
So then after TYRO DADS, the next curriculum or program that we utilize when we think about really strengthening relationships and building healthy relationships between fathers and their partners and fathers and their children is we use couple communication and core communication. And through those curricula, they learn to choose effective communication styles. They use an awareness wheel so that they know that they're communicating everything that they need to communicate, and they apply the listening cycle so that they learn to listen for understanding instead of agreement or disagreement. And they learn how to map issues in a healthy way that helps them regulate their own emotions and use their emotions just to feed them information and not to dictate their actions.
So the complete TYRO Suite is TYRO or TYRO DADS, couple communication, and TYRO JET, TYRO Job Ethics Training.
And today we're going to focus in on TYRO Job Ethics Training and data collection and reporting.
So the TYRO JET Design, personal constant improvement. Now this is amazing. What it teaches is how do you continually go into a constant improvement pattern in your life? How do you get motivated to constantly want to be better?
And then the second part of our design, after we really hit home the importance of this personal constant improvement plan or continual improvement, is to really help them understand structure, schedule, and success and how those three things relate to each other.
So delivering value in every situation, and that's what really we want to come to understand. With the situation you're in, are you bringing value to it? What are you bringing to the table? Or are you still the poison in your environment?
So when we talk about personal constant improvement, the first concept that we really hit in the TYRO JET program is that hard work brings a profit.
You know, and what does that mean? What that means is that you're not only there to get a paycheck, but you're there to give of yourself and help people around you become better and help the company you're with become more successful.
And so when we think about, you know, hard work brings a profit, and so we use the term Kaizen. And Kaizen, you see the markings there on the screen, really mean change for the better. And so we really help people to understand that life is this lifelong pursuit of learning and knowledge and change for the better, so that tomorrow you will be better than you were today, and successively so.
So individual success, you know, that's something that we don't have a blanket that this is what success looks like. We take each individual and we help them define what success is for them. And that's what's really exciting about TYRO JET, TYRO Job Ethics Training, is we can help them divine and actually start to finish, what does that look like and what's it going to take. And what you see there is from the start of your journey?
This is an actual road to success that most people don't recognize, that this is what success looks like. And so many of the fathers that we work with, they come in thinking that success means that we begin here, we set a goal, we go straight to our goal, and that means we're successful. And that if we have any glitches or any setbacks, that means we're not successful.
And so what you see right there is everybody, you know, and this is true in a lot of circles, everybody wants the glory, but they don't want the story that took them to get the glory.
Right. So setback leads to further success and further success, and so this is what we teach them, that is a true path to success. So when we move on to structure, schedule, and success, and we talk about how each of those things are interrelated, we really hit home how important it is to set goals with a plan, because so often the dads that we work with that are steeped in poverty, and the dads that we work with that are incarcerated or recently released, they might have a plan, but they haven't set any goals in order for them to be able to achieve their plan.
And with that, they may not even really quite understand, what do you mean set a goal? You know what, I gotta work 5 days a week, that's my goal. And that might be as big as they can see what the goal is. As long as I show up to work 5 days this week, I'm gonna get a paycheck. And so we wanna help them really understand, look, okay, you're looking at 1 week. We wanna see if you can look past a month, past a year, past even 5 years to set a goal and what it takes to do that.
So we help them create a plausible strategy. Instead of saying, well, you know what, I want to be in the NBA, and so I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to practice basketball all day in my backyard, and I happen to be 50 years old, and I happen to be 5'3", but that's my goal. And so then we can say, you know, the truth is, you're not going to play in the NBA. You're too old and you're too short.
Are you talking about me?
I'm not talking about
right.
you. I'm not talking about you. So we really help them understand what a plausible strategy is, and that means that you can do anything that you put your mind to that is reasonable to achieve, and that there's almost everything is reasonable to achieve, but you've got to have a plausible strategy to get it there.
Setting a calendar, this is tough. You know, when you got a date, you know, you got a hard spot right there, and you got to stay to, you know, it takes a discipline when you set a time on the schedule that you're going to be there on time, you're going to do what you said you're going to do, and we teach them that this takes discipline. And when you put something on the calendar, stick with it. Becoming a man of your word from prison or from poverty, and really reinventing yourself, that what you say you're going to do, you do it.
So that they can understand the difference between blocking their time and really hitting those hard spots that are like, you know, this is something like, if it's every day I have to be home to pick up my daughter at 3 o'clock. Well, that's non-negotiable. But everything around that can become negotiable depending on what your goals are, what your strategy is, and what your plan is.
Experience and value. This is phenomenal. Delivering value in every situation. You know, we ask the men that we work with and the families that we work with, what are you bringing to the table? You know, you have great experience, but do they understand how to bring it and deliver it and help others around them? And the value that they can bring to helping their situation and all those around them. And so delivering value in every situation is so crucial to their success, to understand that to have success in their life, they have to understand what it is you're bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm. So then we also, when we talk about experience and value that they're bringing to their environment, to their workplace, and to their homes, and to their communities, we really hit home on, are you creating or extracting value? Because at some point in their life, they were extracting value. And now we're helping them cross the bridge to create value for their family and their community. And we, during the entire suite, from the TYRO to the couple communication to TYRO JET, we are reinforcing the fact that there are people in this world that are going to try to keep you back and try to, with discrimination, tell you that you are always once a value extractor, you're always a value extractor. And so that's why they have to create even more value. They have to create an even better experience so that they can cause the people that are naysaying to, I guess, to prove them wrong.
You know, I just want to quickly give an example what it means to have an experience, and it's a valued experience. You know, a lot of us maybe have gone to Burger King and we've seen the Whopper in a picture, you know, and you go to Burger King to get that experience of what you see in the advertisement. And when that happens, you leave satisfied, you leave like refreshed. You know, it's like the same reason why would anybody stand in line for a roller coaster for 2 or 3 hours for a 2-minute or less than that ride? Because it's about the experience, and they'll do it again. So that's what we teach these dads. What type of experience are you bringing? Are people going to come back? Are you creating something that they want to come back to? Or are you leaving a bad taste in their mouth and they never want to be around you again?
And then finally, we really hit hard that everyone is a businessman. That means even if you're working in a factory and you show up and you get an hourly rate, that the truth is you're self-employed.
You know, self-employed, and this is what they get to see. If you want job security, then it's your job as being self-employed to make that company you're with successful. If you want to raise, show up on time, be the first one there and the last one to leave. And we teach them that these principles will bring success in their life.
So they have to learn to market themselves. They have to be experts in customer service. They have to be experts in continuous improvement and ongoing learning. And when they really get a hold of these, they become the most sought after employees. Because when we have clients that go through this program and they really grasp the concepts, we hear over and over again, this is the best hire that I've made in 5 years.
So components of the TYRO suite, TYRO dads, and basically attacks the culture of entitlement. Character development. I love this part here, character development, because we have a lot of people with a lot of skills, but their skills outpace their character. In TYRO dads and with the TYRO suite, we are able to take that concept where their character now outpaces their skill. And peer-to-peer accountability. This is amazing. When the men come to a place in their evolution or in their walk and maturity, they come to a place where they want to be held accountable. They understand that the man next to them has been maybe through a similar situation or stuff, but now they're both helping each other grow, and it's okay to be held accountable.
And so TYRO Dads actually helps these dads change the way that they think. And so literally they are becoming new people. If you remember our theory of change, and how as they go through and they have the opportunity when they come down until they get to acceptance to become victims and repeat the cycle, or to become victors. And then they get to renew, redefine, rebuild, reinvent, and reinvest. And so now, it's wonderful to hear our clients say, you know what, doing the right thing is contagious. And so we help them to break those old cycles and create new cycles, and that's what leads to decreased recidivism, increased family stability, increased economic stability, and success for the families and the communities that we get to work with.
Couple communication. Apply skills personally and professionally in family and work situation. This is phenomenal because most of the people we work with and the demographics we work with have never had the opportunity to really learn how to communicate effectively. Most people in general aren't really listening when someone's talking. They're waiting to talk, right? They're waiting to give a response or what's being said. And actually they're formulating their own thoughts in their mind while that other person's talking.
So they move into either fight or flight mode. So either they attack, and sometimes they attack like kind of behind the scenes, because they have not learned how to manage conflict, how to do effective and healthy confrontation and navigate through issues. Instead, they either run from them or they attack, either full front or they attack behind scenes. And so we teach them what it means to be healthy, what it means to resolve conflict, and what it means to communicate in a healthy way.
And the skills that they learn in public communication can be applied on any platform. They can be applied in professional or personal settings, which is really exciting.
Right. And so they also learn to better handle anger. They learn how to manage their emotions and also help the person that they're talking with to be able to manage and recenter and rebalance. And so as we look at the growth and the development of the clients we serve, they're experiencing transformation. What we like to say is, we get to see miracles every day because who they used to be is not who they are anymore. And so now, instead of having a second chance or a second-rate life, now they're having a true first chance and having a really productive and healthy life, and they're not letting other people's stories or ideas of them define who they are.
What we teach with these class, TYRO Dads and Public Communication, is that practice makes permanent. Now, everything we're talking about right now is learned behavior. And we encourage and we teach and we practice with the clients. This isn't going to happen overnight. But the more you do this, the more you repeat these lessons and these principles, this too will become part of your lifestyle, no longer an event.
So they develop greater ability to use the skills they learn to bridge to one another, and one another can be the couple, it can be one another, the father and the children, and they can also then use these skills in the job market and in their employment. Brings us to
TYRO JET. This is a powerful curriculum. Constant improvement. You know, when we came across Kaizen and we got to really see what it means to change for the better, it's something that we are constantly doing, a constant improvement plan. So we're finding out that, you know what, if you want to learn, if you want to continue to grow in your own maturity and constantly take things in, TYRO JET is what will teach you the basics and the principles of why and the how to get where you're trying to get, because we're constantly improving to become better.
Then remember we talked about value creator, and so now we're learning to create value where we go instead of extract value.
And of course, goal planning. You got to have a goal. You got to have a strategy on how to get to your goal. But even in the midst of the hurdles and the pitfalls, you still see the goal. You might change the strategy to get to the goal, but you never change the goal.
So after they go through our TYRO suite, what's super exciting, this is a part, I guess I really love all of it, but this is a part I really love, because now this TYRO alumni community is really open to them forever. So they can continue to grow, and they can also give back and continue to help other people grow, which is just an incredible incentive to continue to do well. You know, in the past, we have really de-incented, if that's a word, where we've caused people to not be incented, and as a matter of fact, we've stopped them from wanting to grow and become better, because our society has said, you know, well, there is no true reconciliation, there's no true forgiveness, and you cannot truly change and be better. Well, as they go through this and they realize, you know what, I get to define, I get to write my story, I get to tell my story, then they connect to the alumni community. And so here, they get exclusive stories of other people that have also made it, and ongoing content to help them in their journey to continue to become better, career development resources that really helps them understand what's the best career path for them and how do they get there and what are the job openings and how do they connect to them.
And TYRO Connection. Now this is amazing. And this is where peer-to-peer, this is where fellow TYROs are able to communicate with one another, encourage one another, and actually talk about in their own lives, what does a best practice look like for them? How is it that they're able to overcome the barriers in their life, and they share the principles that they began to practice with one another. And not only this is an open forum, and so we're able to see, and they're able to see one another's conversations going on, and help raise up the standard of what it means to be a father. What does it mean to really live the American dream, and how to help each other achieve that reality.
So they can be affirmed and they can be encouraged in a place where people understand the same struggles, and that just really helps put them on fire to make a difference in their world.
And they come to a place of knowing, I am not alone, you know, and I have support and I can make it. So be in the know.
So when we think about the platform, and we talked about the platform really on webinar 1, we shared a lot about our TYRO digital platform and all of the things and the value that we get from that. This is one of our facilitators, Willie, by the way, on the picture with me, and he's just a phenomenal facilitator. And so when we use the platform, we really get to recognize, we can identify our high performers, and we can really find out what is it that they're doing that's really creating so much success. And then we can share that across to the rest of the facilitators and help them leverage best practices.
You know, we talk about high performers. You know, Willie Knighton there, the man that you see there next to Kathy, he's a master trainer also in the TYRO curriculum, and he is and he really understands what it takes to become successful. You know, he has his own story, and hopefully one day you'll be able to see and hear that.
So we also get to understand outcomes. We're understanding what's creating the best outcomes for our clients. We're understanding what's creating the best outcomes for our facilitators, and we're understanding the things that are triggering or causing those things. It's like, okay, well, when this happens, wow, look at this. We see a spike in attendance. We see a spike here. Or, wow, when this happens, maybe we see a decline. So it really helps us understand in a very real and very present way adjustments that may need to be made to make sure that we are constantly delivering the best value to those that we serve.
Gauge end users' investment for their own improvement. This is powerful. You'll be able to see on a dashboard what is really going on. Is the end user, the investment you're putting into them, is it working, is it not? Are they veering left or they veering right? What type of special content do they need based upon their answers? You'll be able to gauge them if they are improving and if they're not. And then you'll also be able to gauge the facilitator's progress if he needs more training, if he's not delivering the content in a way that needs to be delivered, if the students aren't getting them.
And then if we see, like a lot of engagement coming on and we say, wow, they're really tracking well, then all of a sudden we see kind of a decline, then that triggers a facilitator to, hey, you know what, I need to reach out and find out what's happening with Joe because he was super engaged and I noticed over the course of this last week or this week and a half that something's changed. And so it allows us to really create an individual plan for intensified case management like never before.
Again, be in the know. Going rogue. Now, I don't know if any of you experienced any facilitators and stuff, and they get really excited and they're doing it at the beginning, but then all of a sudden, you're having problems with somebody because you don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're really delivering the content, and you don't know.
They changed course somewhere.
Somewhere something went awry, and so you want to know if they're keeping the efficacy of the program. Right? So this platform helps you know what's being delivered, know what's being said, because if he's or she's having different outcomes than the rest of the field,
or if they're deviating and we see a different engagement or different types of things happening on the platform, then we can address it right away and we can align them, which is a phenomenal asset to knowing what's happening. That moves us from being reactive to being proactive. So as soon as we realize something is not the way that we expect it to be, we can address it right away instead of waiting till there's trouble and then having to be reactive.
So identify and recognize training
deficiencies.
Thank you. Deficiencies. And this is what it helps you do. It helps you to see what you have to strengthen in your facilitator and in your clients, where you're weak at and where you're strong at. This is a phenomenal platform. I know this is going to revolutionize social services as we know it.
So as we realize that facilitators may be struggling with something, now we know what our next training should be. And it's not that, in the past, we had to wait till maybe 6 months and we'd say, oh, wow, we need to do a training on that. But in the meantime, we had all these clients that didn't get the benefit of that training. Well, when you have real-time data and you're actually looking at what's happening when it's happening, you can make the adjustments along the way. It would be like taking a detour and not having a map and hoping that you're taking the right roads and then finding out when you stop at the next town in 2 hours that you've been on the wrong road and having to backtrack. Well, this keeps us from having to do that. We are able to identify, align, realign, train with relevant material and make sure that we are being proactive in providing our facilitators and our clients served with the very best services right when they need it.
Problems and barriers. Boy, that's a mouthful right there.
So what we really wanted to do is just take just a couple of minutes and talk about some of the things over the past 15 years that we've experienced, some of the problems and the barriers that we had. And we talked a little bit about them when we talked about being in the know, that really moved us to the place of really recognizing the value that a digital platform brings to us and our ability to serve our clients in the absolute best way. We know as social service providers that everyone in our field and everybody we come into contact with, they want the absolute very best for the clients they serve, and they want to provide the absolute very best resources to their facilitators and the people in their organization. And in the past, we would have, like as we started the Ridge Project, the first problem and barrier we had was, developing a curriculum that was really addressing the needs of those we serve, especially when we're looking at and serving such a vulnerable demographic, when we're looking at those that are steeped in poverty or those with generational incarceration, and both of those kind of cross over back and forth between the two, and making sure that it was culturally relevant. We saw a lot of curriculum, both in our journey and also in testing out other curriculum that were really great programs and really great curriculum, but they just lacked the ability to connect to the audience that we wanted to connect to.
So we developed TYRO Dads. We were able to take our own life experience and really sit and then say, okay, what is it? How did we make it? And we put words to it, and today we have it, TYRO Dads.
and couple and core communication. And then some of the other barriers we had was, okay, so once we start a program and we start engagement, you know, how is it that we're measuring? We're doing pre and post surveys, or maybe we're doing class satisfaction surveys, and we're having them report on the things that they learned. But then as we're collecting this data, we're not really getting the aggregate data and looking at it for maybe a month or 2 or 3 months. And so we're in a constant constant improvement, but we're improving on issues that we realized happened 6 months ago or 4 months ago. We're not doing a continuous improvement as what's happening right now today. And so as we kind of leap forward into the digital age, we have been able to really identify, okay, this looks like a struggle right here. Let's figure out how we can make this change today. And what if we change this just slightly? And maybe our next training for the facilitators, we were going to do a training on record keeping, but it really looks like they really need to have a training on connecting their clients to child support. And so it really has helped us to create the best experience for our clients, because really that's why we're in business. That's why people go into serving other people, is because they really want to bring transformation. We're not looking to just make a small ripple in the people's lives that we serve. We really want to have the best impact we can possibly have. We want it to be transformational. In order to do that, you have to be radical in your approach to the best efforts possible. Using the same old thing doesn't work.
You know, to move the needle in your culture, the culture that you're working with, and you're trying to change a culture, the next generation that's coming up, and we're working with, you know, this next fatherless generation, because all the fathers are incarcerated, and to really move the needle and get these dads really re-engaged, alive, and have that purpose and dream in their life that they can capture what we qualify as the American dream, and even with the label, that they can still make it and become successful. And a lot of the barriers that we faced, you know, that to overcome them, we had to, you know, this is a process. Mm-hmm. We had to figure it out. But we worked hard, and we figured out a lot of things on how to overcome.
Right, and processes. And I think the last thing before we turn it back over to Brandon to introduce Brenda, who's just phenomenal, just a wealth of wisdom, is really data tracking, and how very, very crucially important data tracking is. To know what it is that we're trying to track, and to be able to have access to that data, and to be able to pull reports in a way that we have confidence in those numbers is really, really important if we want to be successful, because we've learned how important it is that we have to be good stewards of the lives that we're serving, so to do the very best we can to provide the best services and to leverage best practices, but also good stewards of the dollars and the confidence that our funders put in us. And so in order to do that, we have to make sure that we're tracking the data with efficacy and with integrity and transparency. And that's one of the things I think is just phenomenal, because everything we do, we always want to be transparent so that anybody could step in and that they can find where it is, where did this come from, where did that come from, and how did you get the data, and how much more transparent than to actually have clients doing that data. So thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right, thank you, Ron and Kathy, so much. So it seems as if, though, like the biggest barriers and problems that you guys had to face were the capturing of the data and the feedback of your clients, right? And so that's awesome that we have Dr. Oyer and Dr. Frey and Dylan here with us to kind of share about how the platform is really going to help with that, and kind of even talking about the old world and how data has been tracked. So first up, we've got Dr. Brenda Oyer, who is a graduate of the Leadership Studies program at Bowling Green State University in Northwest Ohio. She also has an MED in Educational Psychology from the University of Toledo and a BA in Psychology and Religion from Anderson University. Dr. Oyer currently serves as the Research and Data Manager for the RIDGE Project. She has over 20 years of experience, she's very, very wise from that experience, in providing services to people with developmental disabilities and their families, including serving as a superintendent of County Board of Development Disabilities in Northwest Ohio. And we also have Dr. Jeff Frey, who is the Vice President and a founding partner of GLUE. He is a psychologist whose focus is on how engagement technology can extend the impact of the helping professors in the gap between face-to-face, and Dylan Wilson, who is the Initiative Manager, Creative Direction at GLUE. Thank you guys so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Brandon. As Brandon mentioned, my name is Dr. Brenda Oyer, and I do have the privilege of serving as the Research and Data Manager here at the RIDGE Project. In my role here, I oversee our outcome measurement processes, and I help to make sure that we are collecting the data that we need for a variety of purposes, whether that would be outcome measurement, grant reporting, assessing our strengths and weaknesses, or demonstrating the effectiveness of our TYRO program that Ryan and Kathy have just reviewed. And I am really, really excited as a data person about the TYRO platform, because it is going to dramatically transform what is possible with regard to our data collection. The TYRO platform truly allows us to dream big dreams about our data collection and creates new possibilities. And so before we talk about the new possibilities, I'd actually like to look together with you at some of the problems and barriers that are related to current data collection processes, which I'm going to refer to as old world data. So in the old world data, we have paper forms touched by multiple staff with data that is manually entered into the database. And so one of the challenges we have right now with collecting data is that we are reliant on using paper forms. And here at the RIDGE Project, some examples of those forms are applications, intake forms, pre and post surveys, and class evaluations. And each of those forms are touched by multiple staff from the time they're printed on the printer to the time that the data is manually entered into the database. And so I'm going to talk just for a second just about our applications as an example. So first of all, they're touched when they're printed by our data entry staff. Then they're given to a facilitator. The facilitator then gives them to potential clients or to referral sources. Eventually, the potential client receives them, fills them out, gives them back to the facilitator, who then gives them back to the data entry staff, who then manually enter the data into the database. That is at least a 5-step process. And there are some challenges with that process. For example, there's the potential that paper forms can become lost or damaged. Also, because our facilitators work all over the state, there are often several days between the time they collect the application forms from the potential clients and are able to turn them into their regional offices. So that creates a delay in processing. And another challenge with paper forms is that when we make changes to the forms or update them, it is really, really challenging to make sure that all of the old forms are discarded and replaced with the new forms. It's still, sometimes we'll put out a new application form and like 6 months later, an older form will still show up somewhere in the system. So it's really hard to get rid of those old forms. So another issue that we have with paper forms is oftentimes they are not filled out completely. And so then we find that we are faced with missing information. And so then we have folks who need to take the time to track down that information, returning the form to the client to get the information that we need. And that creates additional steps in the process as well as delays in processing. And a third challenge within our current system is that we have a reliance on IT staff to create reports. And with our system, we have a database, and we use crystal reports to pull data from the database and pull specific data that we need for a variety of purposes. And because of the way it is structured currently, we have a heavy reliance on our IT staff, who are wonderful, to create those reports. And so, but that creates limits because of time constraints on how quickly we can create reports and how often and how many reports we can create. So another issue with old world data is that longitudinal data is nearly impossible to collect. Our current collection processes are quite limited because it is so challenging to maintain, as Ron and Kathy have mentioned, it is so challenging to stay in contact with the men who complete our program after they've completed our program, whether it's after they're released from prison or if they complete our program out in the community-based settings. Just once they complete the program, it's really easy to lose touch with them. And because it's so easy to lose touch with them, it's really hard to track long-term what their outcomes are. We have pre-surveys and post-surveys that they complete at the beginning and the conclusion of our program. But beyond that, it's really tough to track how are they doing on a long-term basis as a result of having taken the TYRO program. And it makes it difficult for us to measure the long-term impact of our program. So one of the things that the old world data then does is it limits us to being able to collect primarily short-term data when we'd really like to know the longer-term data. Currently, our clients receive feedback primarily from class facilitators, and so that kind of feedback can be limited by constraints on the facilitator time and the facilitator's availability. And Ron and Kathy talked about that continual feedback loop and continually having the ability to self-evaluate and see how you're doing. And with our current old world feedback processes, it's very limited as to what we can do. That there's not a lot of tools available in the current system for clients to be able to self-evaluate and to connect with other TYROs as well. So those are some of the limitations. And then I'm just going to piggyback a little bit. I don't have a bullet point on this, but I'm piggyback a little bit on what Ryan and Kathy talked about earlier about our facilitators currently also don't have access to immediate feedback on how they are doing in their classes, like what are their class completion rates, how well are they doing with engaging clients, what is the evaluations that they're receiving from the clients as far as their facilitation. And so right now we don't have feedback mechanisms that can give that information to them that is readily accessible and on a quick turnaround. And the same is true of even on a management level, for at a higher level for management staff to be looking at the trends and patterns that can develop over time. And so that's all of the, not all of the limitations, but those are some of the significant limitations that we have faced with the old world data. So given these challenges of our old world data collection and the ability of the TYRO platform to dramatically improve the way we're collecting data, it leads me to at least 4 questions. And I actually could add more to this list, but I'm going to emphasize these 4. And they all start with, wouldn't it be great if we could address these challenges that I just talked about? Wouldn't it be great if we could capture client data more quickly and efficiently with fewer errors and less missing information? Wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the need for paper and pencil forms? Wouldn't it be great if we wouldn't have to rely on IT staff to create these reports that we need for data analysis? Wouldn't it be great if we could capture data on how well our clients do after they complete our program, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or beyond? And the exciting thing is about the TYRO program is that it allows us to do all these things that we could say, wouldn't it be great if?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Oyer. Dr. Jeff Ray and Dylan, if you guys want to kind of talk about how the platform is going to answer these 4 wouldn't it be great if questions.
Awesome. Just a few, and this is Jeff Ray here. Just wanted to show this one picture here on the PAPL announcements between 2005 and 2013. And we love this image for really how it captures the sort of zeitgeist of our times and how a period of 8 years that technology was really transforming how people experienced a single event. In the one, they go home and tell people about what they experienced, and the other one, they create a real-time experience with those people. So we've been addressing at GLUE for the last 5 years. What does it really mean to really bring the power of these emerging, evolving technologies into the hands of the people that are on the front lines helping people grow? And that's our mission here at GLUE, is to serve champions enable them to scale and leverage technology to accomplish that. It's been a great journey with Ridge to be together, learning so much about the world of the facilitators and how the data structures and the engagement frameworks that we've built can really come together and create a unique experience for TYROs. I'm going to really ask Dylan to kind of walk through these different platform solutions briefly here. Dylan?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Frey. This is Dylan Wilson. I'm the initiative manager here at GLUE, and have been working super closely with Ridge over the last 18 months to accomplish all that we have been talked about and try to solve some of those wouldn't it be great if statements that Dr. Oya had mentioned before. Just kind of back to that slide, not that we have to click back, but you know, it's fascinating. The world has changed, and you know, technology is so much more ubiquitous than it was even just a short period of time ago. You know, the average smartphone user, if you have a smartphone, whether you know it or not, you touch it 150 plus times a day. You touch your phone 150 times a day. You turn on the screen to check if you have any notifications, to check your email, your messages, or your Facebook, and then you put it back in your pocket. And you know, as we talk about behavioral change, as we talk about data collection, you know, what other great place to be than on a device that allows for you to be right in front of that person that many times a day. And so, you know, we've been really working on leveraging just the change in technology to do so. Which is super exciting because in social services, people are using technology. You know, Facebook, people are on Facebook for a copious amount of hours every day. Their Instagram, their Twitter, their whatever. And you know, if we don't get there, we will be behind. And so we are really driving with the Ridge project and the TYRO platform what it looks like for us to be in that same place to offer those same type of engaging features and community so that these people are in community and growing together. And then it also gives us an opportunity to assess them, to help them set their goals and drive towards those goals, and even for them to even measure their own growth. And so, you know, I think it's easy, you know, as we talk about data collection through a platform to sound a little bit like Big Brother, right? That we are able to kind of see everybody and whatever and what everybody's doing and what's new. But you know, this data, the idea of data and surfacing it to as many people as we possibly can is powerful. Not only for the end user or for the facilitator teaching classes or the home office at Ridge assessing program efficacy, but it's also useful to that client who's going through that growth process, because the more data we know about ourselves helps us know where we're at and what we should be doing next. And so, just to answer some of Dr. Oyer's questions here. She mentioned, wouldn't it be great if we could capture client data more quickly and efficiently with fewer errors and less missing information? And so our goal with the platform is to, from the first time that the client applies to the program to the time that the client exits the program and goes off to live their life, that they are connected to the platform. And so what that allows us to do is to collect data not only more quickly but instantly. So as soon as the client hops onto the platform and completes the course application form, we have that data. We can pull reports on that data. There is no passing off of forms from person to person where things can get lost or misstated. That's all happening through the platform, and that also helps us reduce those errors and missing information. Another way that we accomplish less missing information is to create gates or barriers. So, as a client is going to the TYRO platform and we're asking him to complete an assessment or perhaps fill out an application or pre or post survey, if they don't click on certain elements or answer certain questions, they won't be able to move forward and submit that. And so that helps us make sure that we have really solid data integrity and that we have all the data that we need to collect. Again, this is a little bit obvious, but could we eliminate the need for paper and pencil forms? And so as we're working with the program, everything that Dr. Oyer mentioned, from applications to pre and post survey information, is all going to happen through the platform. So that serves two purposes. One, to get us out of the paper world and into the digital world and have everything be real time. And then two, we can pull reports on that real time data. So at any given moment, we can know how many applications we have queued up for approval. We can have an understanding of pre and post survey results, etc. And so it's really super powerful for the program at large, but then also the facilitators serving clients on the front line. Dr. Oyer mentioned her awesome IT staff and perhaps the unfortunate need to rely on them for data analysis and pulling reports. And so with the platform, it won't just be the IT's person that is able to pull that report, and you have to have a high level of expertise to pull the right data. Everybody who has permission within the platform to pull that type of data can do so. So now, like Dr. Roy had mentioned previously, the facilitator can pull his own class completion data to assess himself to see how he's doing in his region or in his city locale. He can take a look at his own pre and post surveys from just his clients to see how much improvement he's driving through that process. And then obviously the home office can do a blanket assessment of all the facilitators delivering the program to see, as Ron had talked about, who maybe needs a little bit of help to serve their clients better, or where we can step in to really make sure that the program is being delivered with integrity and how it was made. And then the last one that Dr. Oyer had mentioned was, wouldn't it be great if we could capture data on how well our clients do after they complete our program? So, 3 months after program completion, 6 months, or even a year. One of the things that the TYRO program has that Kathy had mentioned is the TYRO alumni community. And so after people complete the first course, the TYRO Dads program, they are put into the alumni community of other people who have completed. And so that's where they're really working on connecting to workforce development resources and even just helping each other out on a personal level. And so the power in funneling all of these clients into a centralized holding location, a large group, is that we can now deliver through the platform assessments, additional help with finding jobs, and collect the longitudinal data that we need over time. So as we take those pre and post surveys from that first class experience, we can deliver bits and pieces or a daily question to clients who have completed the program to answer, so that we have data on these guys, as Dr. Oyer mentioned, anywhere from 3 to 6 months to a year out. So super powerful, and I think that perhaps the most powerful thing is that what we're building and what we've built to date is all these things are happening in the same place. So everything from class attendance to case management notes to assessments and surveys to content and experiences, and then also reporting, they're all happening in the same place, so that there's no split in systems. There's no reporting system over here, and then our paper applications are over here, and that's what the clients see. Everything is happening in one place, which makes it super simple for facilitators who are delivering the program to do so without any confusion and with really powerful data at their fingertips to make great decisions. So yeah, that's kind of all we've got. I'm going to pass it back over to Ron and Kathy to talk a little bit more about what successful implementation of these things looks like.
Great, thanks
Dylan. Appreciate that. Successful implementation, fatherhood. Wow, it takes a lot to be able to build a relationship with the people you're going to be delivering to and the partners you have, and how do you implement successful fatherhood, reentry for Department of Justice and Health and Human Services, and all the entities you're going to be trying to work with to deliver your curriculum or delivering TYRO Dads.
And so really when we look at the TYRO suite, these are the areas that we've been able to successfully implement in fatherhood and healthy marriage or healthy relationship. Because we believe if you're really going to work with creating a healthy father and a healthy family, you have to work with the whole family. And so, and also, we use it as a reentry program through both the Department of Justice and Health and Human Services, both of those departments, to really help stabilize the dads, to cut off those generational cycles of poverty and generational cycles of incarceration.
And generational cycles of entitlement. Because that's one of the strongest barriers, because what should have been an event in somebody's life, be it food stamps, be it even Medicaid, or even, maybe a one-time incarceration, has really become a lifestyle.
All right, so we help transition dads and their families from being a burden or a value extractor to society to cross the bridge into being a value creator and being healthy, productive, successful citizens that are thriving.
And what really demonstrates success in our program is that we're able to teach these men, grown men, and show them literally a rites of passage that they've never really had growing up. And so it takes them from this childhood mentality literally into adulthood, and it shows them literally what an adult looks like, and to have success as an adult and a father, a husband, and raising a family here in our country today.
So we're really excited that we've spent the last 15 years of program implementation and development, and then the last 18 months really working on technology with our partner Glue to really create a turnkey replicable model, something that is simple to learn, simply to be taught and to implement. Part of this replicable model is ongoing TA, so we've got built-in technical assistance through the platform and through person-to-person.
Achieving your outcomes and have a greater client impact. And we have goals in mind. We know we have numbers. We have to answer to our funders, and we have to really show an ROI, a return on investment. And when I say investment, because they're investing dollars in your corporation or your agency to have an impact in the society and the community around you. And so with this turnkey package, the TYRO Suite, you're able to enhance and impart success into all the lives that come into your program.
Right, and I just, as we finish up, Brandon, I just want to take just 1 minute and just tell, have Ron, if you'll join me in just telling a short story as we look at this picture on the screen. When we talk about achieving our outcomes and having greater client impact, I think that sometimes that there is just a lack of understanding of the dire need and the importance of changing people's lives. And also, I think sometimes people just don't believe that people's lives can be transformed.
In the picture that you're looking at, this is one of our completion classes in a penitentiary here in Ohio. And the young man...
6 years ago?
Yeah, it's been about 6, maybe 7 years ago. And the young man in front who's kneeling down with the gray sweatshirt, he became a TYRO, and he was doing really well inside the prison. But when he went home, and we contacted him, and we were trying to get him engaged into our programs.
Right. So when he got home, his associates were waiting for him, and they told him that they would, let him out of the gang. They just needed him to do one more favor. And as soon as he did this one more thing, it was kind of like he had an entrance rite of passage. This would be his exit rite of passage, and he would be able to have his life back to do whatever he wanted. So he told Ron, hey, I'm just about ready. I have one more thing to do. And then he didn't contact us again.
He got home and didn't contact us, and we were unable to find out where he was. And we wound up finding out I was in the same prison, and the chaplain took me in to tell me that the young man had been killed, what he was doing, and he had been killed by police officers because of the act that he was perpetrating. And it just really resonates that how crucial and how serious the work that we do is in our country today, to really help men see that life is fragile and that they can have a first chance at really becoming successful without living in the streets.
And to increase accountability and to increase our ability to provide case management 24/7. I know one of the guys that was connected to him said, he kept talking about, well, as soon as I get this done, I'll call Ron, unless he calls me first. Well, we didn't have his phone number. We had no way to connect with him. And so now this digital platform enables us to really release our passion and the accountability and the case management and really save lives so that we can save generations, save communities, and create a stronger, healthier community and nation.
Thank you guys so much. And one of the things that I really like about TYRO is how you really press how there are no better thans in the TYRO nation. Right, we're all created equal, and it's our jobs to make others more successful than we are. And so I love how you stress that with the guys. So for more information, to become a partner, you can contact Tim Snoke, Director of Development. His phone number is 419-278-0092. Or you could visit theridgeproject.com/partner. That's ridgeproject.com/partner. So we're going to go ahead and move into questions and answers. We had a few come in. So, Ron, Ron and Kathy, this first one is for you. Is the TYRO alumni community available to someone if they complete only one of the components of TYRO, or do they have to complete the entire suite to get into the alumni community?
That's a great question, Brandon. You must be a TYRO to join the TYRO alumni community. In other words, if you complete the flagship TYRO, then that makes you a TYRO. Then you're eligible for all the benefits that come with being in the TYRO alumni community.
Awesome. So hey, this question's for you, Dylan. How easy or difficult is it to run reports on the information collected electronically on the platform? And is there a web-based interface available?
Yeah, our platform is kind of has a dual purpose. We have a web version of the platform and then also mobile. Report pulling is primarily going to happen on the web side, just because it's easier to manipulate that type of data. Now, pulling reports, what you'll be able to do is have templated reports. And so let's say, we're taking these certain fields, these certain outcomes, and these certain data points. TYRO home office will be able to set those reports, and you can pull those general reports quickly. So it's literally a matter of clicking the right tab, clicking the templated report, and running the report, and you'll have your data instantly, not only digitally, but you can download it as a PDF or export it as a CSV type of file. And then as far as, I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question, Brandon? You had how easy is it to pull the reports, and what was the other one?
Yeah, is there a web-based interface available? And I think you answered both those questions, actually.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that you can also have unique reports. So if you're, for example, a facilitator delivering the program on the front lines, you have an idea for some data points that you want to take a look at to see how you're doing in your region or in your classes, you can pull unique reports as well.
Great, thank you. So Ron and Kathy, this one is for you, or Dr. Brenda. Is there anywhere I can view the results of these programs in published reports or journals?
We actually have a couple of reports that have been done on our program. One from Midwest Research and Evaluation, one from University of Baylor, or Baylor University, sorry, the economic impact, and then we also have a report that was completed by St. Wall Street. And that's on our adult division, which is what we're really focusing on now. We've also had reports published for our youth division, which is a completely separate and distinct division, and the Miami University Applied Research Center conducted the research there. We've also been included in some research studies. If you if you go to our website, you'll be able to see the studies. Brenda, do you have anything else, Dr. Oyer?
Well, I can address the question about the journals, and I don't believe we've been published yet in any peer-reviewed journals, but we are undergoing a research study right now in conjunction with Baylor University and the Fatherhood Research and Practitioners Network, and one of the goals of that project is that eventually we will have a publishable study of the impact of our program.
Thank you, guys. This next question is for you again, Dylan, or Dr. Frey. So how do you expect the platform to evolve over time, and what new features will you integrate?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of our key architectural commitments is what we call thin and open, because we just know that technology is always changing, and being able to adapt and connect out to other important technologies is going to be just a permanent part of what we have to always be doing here at GLUE. The key thing in the day and time that we live in with technology is just ability to be agile as data and information is flowing in. It's almost like, think of science in. We're learning and information is flowing in, and then to continuously improve and advance and improve the platform. So it's not a static state, it's a continuous evolution. And so as we learn more about what people are needing and what works best, you'll see the platform evolve from there.
Great. This last question is for you, Ron and Kathy. and Dylan, you might be able to speak to this too. What kind of support is specifically covered in the TA you mentioned earlier?
Well, that's a great question. So technical assistance, it actually includes assistance in if you're applying for a grant for this or trying to garner support for it. It includes access to language that you can insert into it, access into the evidence of effectiveness, and the proof that it's an evidence-based program. Also includes ongoing support on implementation, recruitment strategies, retention strategies, and access to the platform and access to individual people to help you to implement the platform and also the project. And I think I already said in specific training to both the platform and the curriculum.
Great. Do you have anything you want to add, Dylan, or are you good?
No, I think Kathy nailed it. I think from our side, on the technical side, that she kind of wrapped into that umbrella is that we will be helping serve a full implementation. So as you decide to perhaps deliver this program, we will help train on the platform how to pull those reports, how to change those assessments, etc. So that you and your entire staff or organization are well equipped to use it.
Some I want to add that all the forms are already developed, and when we say turnkey, we've spent a lot of hours and a lot of time to really nail down, I like the phrase you used, Dylan, nail down the technique and the process on how to become and implement a successful program. Even the language on how you speak to, if you're trying to start a program and have a relationship with your local Department of Corrections or your county jail, that's a whole different nature. And so we help in navigate that and establish a communication a pattern, or just to help strengthen relationships, because key to success is relationships. But you got to know the vocabulary. You got to know the personalities or the entity you're dealing with, and what it means to have successful programs in prisons, because each prison has its own
Culture.
Yeah, your own culture. Thanks, Cass. Your own culture you got to understand that. So as we come and we can help you with TA and understanding really how to have a successful program and what does it look like and what does it take, and we're willing to help achieve that for you, because frankly your success is our success.
Thank you guys so much for being with us today, and I just want to remind everybody that you can find the recording and contact information at theridgeproject.com, and or you could go to theridgeproject.com/partner. And this has just been a great season and great time of having the webinar series, and I want to thank all of you for joining us during these 3 webinars. And also, you can contact Tim Snoke if you want to get some more information on becoming a partner with TYRO at 419-278-0092. And thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you.